So this is my dueling coaster so far. Now in this update, I'm going to explain how I plan to make the trains dual, how that system connects to the lift mechanism, and then at the end I'm going to ask for some help. So let's get started. So getting roller coaster trains to dual every single time is a big problem, both in real life and for my model here. So as you can see, I've tried to develop this system. See, there's a red rod holding both trains in place. And that rod on either side is attached to this weight system. So when I pull this lever, the weight has to go up. And it releases the train. And then when I let this go, the weight pushes the lever back. So when the train behind it comes along, it can't keep going, and it stops at the lever. Now this lever, it's on both tracks. So if I pull both levers at the same time, both trains release at the same time. Now, the key is, how do I push both levers at the same time? Which brings me to a mechanism beneath these two tracks. And that mechanism is kind of in the shape of an arrow. You can see it right there. See the shape? So when I push this one big lever underneath, they both open and the levers are released. When I let it go, the weights push the levers back closed. When I push it again, open, closed, open, closed. And this chain in the center has a little hook attached to it right there. And when the hook comes along to here, that is the beginning of the lever that lifts those weights and releases both trains at the same time. Now the tricky part here is that I need everything to be on one motor because I plan to have this at the train museum and I want everything to be operated as simply as possible. So to do that, I have to combine that mechanism with the mechanism that powers both chain lifts. Now the chain in the middle, that hook pushes that lever that releases the trains. So once every time around, it pushes that lever and lets the trains go. While at the same time, it's connected to the two gears here, get out of the way, to the two gears here that power the actual chain lift that lift both trains at the same time. Now here's where I reach my first issue. One of the chains isn't even working. Let's back this up. Alright, so here's where I really reach my first issue. The plastic connexes aren't strong enough to lift both of these at the same time. Now the big reason for that is because I stepped up the gears here. So these gears spin faster than this gear, than the gears powering that middle one. The reason I initially did that was because I did not want the motor to have to lift both trains at the same time that it's having to lift both of those weights. But obviously that's not going to work because it can't even lift both trains at the same time. So my next plan is probably going to be to step down these gears. So the chain lift goes real slow, but hopefully the connexes will be able to actually handle that. Other than that, now that's where I get to the help. I need your help portion of this. If you know of an easier way or a better way to reduce the friction over there, to allow me to reduce the weight of those weights, or a better way of having this gear system here, in order to lift both of these trains and lift both of those weights at the same time, that would be very welcome news to me. And finally, I'm not quite a fan of the colors I'm using yet. I did like the idea of having two distinct colors for the tracks, but if you have any color recommendations, let me know. And finally, to end this video on a slightly more positive note, the very first big element here is going to be a near-miss element. Right before the drop. So the trains are gonna come at each other and then go down to a beyond vertical drop right as you feel like your heads are going to crash into the opposite trains' heads. So I'm excited to see that in action. You can see a quick preview of what that might look like right now. And there you go. Until next time.